Do you believe in second chances? What would you do if the love of your life, who you thought was lost forever, showed up at your doorstep after 60 years? If you're moved by stories of love, hope, and kindness, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss what's coming next. This is the story of Arthur and Clara, and it will make you believe in miracles. In a quiet, tree-lined street of a small town that seems untouched by the passage of time, lives a man whose entire existence is a testament to a love he refused to let go of. Arthur Miller, now 82 years old, spends his afternoons in a familiar ritual, sitting on his wooden porch swing, his gaze lost on the horizon where the sun begins its slow descent. His hands, gnarled with the wisdom of age and a lifetime of hard work as a mechanic, now gently hold a single precious item, a faded, tattered photograph. In the image, a young couple, filled with the boundless optimism of youth, smiles brightly. Their eyes hold a promise, a certainty of a future they were sure to build together. But life, in its unpredictable cruelty, had other plans. For Arthur, true love happened only once, in the scorching summer of 1963. He was a vibrant 22, and she, Clara Johnson, was a spirited 20. They were inseparable, bound by a fiery passion and a shared vision of a simple, happy life. Yet a single devastating decision tore them apart, leaving Arthur in a profound silence that would stretch across 6 long, lonely decades. He never married. He never moved on. He simply waited. Their story began with the kind of serendipity you only read about in old books. It was in Willow Creek, a town so small everyone knew everyone else's business. Arthur, with his oil-stained work clothes and easy smile, was a local legend. He could fix any engine, and his reputation for honesty was as solid as the old Ford he drove. Clara Johnson, the baker's daughter, was the life of the party, her laughter as sweet and infectious as the pastries her father sold. They first met at Ruby's, the town's classic 1950s-style diner, a place with red vinyl booths and the ever-present scent of fried food and milkshakes. She had a flat tire on her way there, and Arthur, ever the gentleman, stopped to help. With flour still smudged on her nose from a morning of baking, she flashed him a smile that completely disarmed him. From that moment on, they were a fixture in the town's social scene. They spent countless hours in that very diner booth, sharing a chocolate milkshake with 2 straws and discussing their deepest dreams. The jukebox, with its chrome and neon lights, was the soundtrack to their burgeoning love, playing everything from Jailhouse Rock to the latest hits from the Beatles. Arthur knew with an unshakable certainty that Clara was his soulmate. He had saved every dime he earned to buy her a simple but perfect engagement ring, tucked away in a small velvet box in his sock drawer. His plan was foolproof. He would propose on his 23rd birthday. Their dreams were modest and beautiful: to buy a small plot of land just outside of town, build a little house with a big porch, and raise a family. That summer was more than just a season. It was the promise of a future together, a foundation built on a love that felt as strong as the Ohio soil beneath their feet. But not every fairy tale has a happy ending. The idyllic peace of their love was shattered by the arrival of Clara's father, a man whose ambition was as vast as the country itself. He had secured a promising, high-paying job in New York City, a world away from the simple life of Willow Creek. He forbade Clara from staying behind, his voice cold and final. In his eyes, a simple mechanic wasn't a worthy future for his daughter. He painted a picture of a glamorous, successful life for her in the big city, a life that a small-town mechanic could never provide. He pressured her relentlessly, playing on her sense of familial duty and her fear of disappointing him. Clara was torn, caught in an impossible choice between the love of her life and the loyalty to her family. The pressure became too much, too. On a rainy autumn night, Arthur received a letter from Clara. He can still recall the feel of the damp paper, the elegant yet shaky handwriting. The letter was short, but its few, carefully chosen words were enough to shatter his world. She explained she was leaving and could never see him again. Arthur was devastated. He was a shell of his former self, unable to eat, unable to sleep. The town watched as their cheerful, optimistic Arthur transformed into a ghost, his laughter replaced by a heavy silence. The engagement ring, a symbol of a future that had now vanished, remained in its box, a painful reminder of a love stolen by fate. The years that followed were a blur of work and quiet evenings alone, his heart locked away, waiting for a girl he thought he had lost forever. He never got rid of her photograph. He never got rid of the ring. He never got rid of hope, not for 6 decades. Arthur lived a life that was both full and empty. He had his friends, his work at the garage, and a deep-rooted sense of community. But a central, vital piece of his life's puzzle was missing. He became a fixture in Willow Creek, a quiet, kind man with a gentle sadness in his eyes. He would see old couples on the street, holding hands, and a pang of what if would hit him with a force that was as sharp as it was familiar. Every day, the silent question echoed in his mind. Where is she now? He imagined her life in New York, a city he only knew from movies and magazines, a place that had taken his Clara from him. He pictured her happy, with a family, a life he couldn't be a part of. This imagined happiness was a small comfort, a way to justify his own lifelong loneliness. The garage was his sanctuary, a place where he could lose himself in the familiar rhythm of tools and engines. But every night, as he sat on his porch swing under the stars, his hand would instinctively reach for that photograph, and for a few stolen moments, he was back in 1963, a young man madly in love, full of hope. Decades passed, and Clara, now a widow, lived a life of luxury she never truly wanted. She had married a wealthy man, had children, and lived in a beautiful home. But she always felt a profound emptiness, a missing piece in her soul that no amount of success or comfort could fill. The ghost of Arthur was a constant companion, a quiet regret that followed her through every day. One day, while sorting through her late father's old possessions, she stumbled upon a dusty bundle of letters. They were addressed to her in a familiar, strong handwriting. It was from Arthur. It was then that she discovered the cruel truth. Her father had been hiding their correspondence, deliberately keeping them apart. The truth, like a tidal wave, crashed over her. All those years of assumed silence were nothing but a lie. Overwhelmed by a mix of anger, regret, and a desperate hope, Clara made a decision. She had to find Arthur. She traveled back to Willow Creek, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. She didn't know if he was still alive, or if he would even remember her. She only had the old address. When she finally stood at his front door and knocked, her hand trembling, 60 years of unspoken pain hung in the air. Arthur opened the door, and his eyes, filled with the weariness of a lifetime, widened in disbelief. "Clara?" he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Is that really you?" And she, with tears streaming down her face, replied, "I'm so sorry, Arthur. I'm so sorry I'm 60 years too late." That afternoon, they sat on that very porch swing, and for the first time in 6 decades, they filled in the gaps of a lifetime. Clara told him everything about her father's deception. Arthur told her about the lonely life he had lived, waiting for a ghost. The air was filled with decades of lost moments, of unspoken words, and a profound, healing silence. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Arthur, with a new sense of purpose and a youthful gleam in his eyes, got up and walked inside. He returned with the small velvet box. He took out the ring and placed it gently in Clara's hand. The flame of a love that had been frozen in time for so long finally reignited. That day Arthur, at 82, looked into the eyes of his first and only love and asked the question he should have asked 60 years ago. "Clara," he said, his voice as steady and sincere as it was on that long-ago summer day, "will you marry me?" And she, with a radiant smile that took him back to the magic of 1963, sighed, "Yes." Their story is a powerful reminder that hope is a flame that never goes out. It's proof that love, even after 6 decades of distance, can flourish again. It's proof that it's never too late for a second chance. For 60 years, Arthur waited. And in the end, it was more than worth it. If you were moved by this story, you'll love the others we have to share. Stories of everyday people who inspire us with their acts of kindness, resilience, and love. To see more stories like this, subscribe to our channel now and join a community that celebrates the best of humanity. Click the bell icon to be notified whenever we post a new video. Leave a comment and let us know what you thought of this story, and share it with someone who needs a dose of hope today.